Welcome to another tutorial for BenchEzy. This tutorial we're going to look at setting up our cutout templates or machining operation templates. What I will show you here will basically apply to any type of cutout. For example, new hot plates, vanity basins, laundry tubs, miscellaneous. The sink templates are a little bit more involved, so I've done a separate video for that you can watch to get more information on a little bit more that's involved with the sink setup. But for any of the others, it's very simple operation. And in this example, what I'm going to do is show you how to set up a hot plate machining operation template. Our cutout dimension that we've been supplied with for our hot plate is 572 millimeters in the width and 496 millimeters in the depth. So we'll get started and we'll see how simple that can be. First thing we're going to do is draw a rectangle which will represent the geometry for the actual hole size. So we're just going to start here at 0, 0 in our AlphaCam drawing. We are going to type in the length of the cutout and then the width of our cutout below that so that we can see everything. Now, as you can see, we have one geometry which is already drawn to suit our cutout size. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to simply offset the sides of this particular geometry so that we can get some reference points so that we can use them as our insertion points when we insert this particular hot plate into a drawing using BenchEzy. Now, all of the machining operations or cutout templates that are supplied with BenchEzy have all been set up with a 20mm offset, which will basically give you 20mm clearance from the insert point that you use when you're filling in the BenchEzy form to the actual edge of the hole for the cutout. So now basically we've got our two clearance lines set there. What I'm going to do is extend those by a distance of 65mm. Now all cooktops have been set up with this 65mm front offset. I'll just blow that back now so that I can see it properly. So the next thing we're going to do is we don't have to do this, but I'm just going to do a little bit of a tidy up here to make our drawing look a little bit tidy. So as you can see here now, all I've done is I've just gotten rid of the excess lines that we don't really require anymore. Next thing I'm going to do is to copy one of these little fellas here, which are actually 65mm in length. The next thing I'm going to do is copy one of these little fellas here. I'll take the one that I'm going to use for my left-hand insertion point, and then I'll plonk that into the center of the actual cutout. So now basically what we have is we have our left-hand insertion point, we have our center of cutout insertion point, and we have our right hand insert point. The next thing we can do is basically move this drawing so that it is heading in the direction of being saved in the right location within AlphaCam, so that when it's inserted into a benchtop drawing by BenchEzy, that it actually gets inserted at the right location. So all I'm going to do now is to move all of my geometries using this as my reference point, and I'm going to move that to 0, 0. As you can see, I've drawn this cutout template as though I'm standing looking at it from the front, so that these points on these clearance lines here, or insert point lines, represent the actual front edge of the benchtop. The next thing to remember is that when the cutouts are actually inserted into a drawing, and because we machine our benchtops upside down, we need to actually insert our templates upside down. So what we're going to do now is flip this over so that it is in fact upside down. So what I'm going to do is just use the mirror tool in AlphaCam, use the 0 line as my reference points. I don't need to keep the original, and then just bring that back so we can see it. Now basically we have now a template that is ready to be inserted into a drawing. So what we'll do now is we'll save this in the right location, and as you can see, I tend to name all of my templates so that I know exactly what one of them might be. So I'll just utilize one of these names, and I shall change that size to our 572 by 496 and click save. Now the next thing that we can do is we can actually put a little bit of text onto our drawing here, so that when this drawing gets inserted into a benchtop, it'll actually give us a textual visual indication of what size cutout we have actually inserted in here. So we'll just put in a little bit of text on here, and all I generally do is use the cutout size. I'll put that in there. So what I'll do now is I'll just move that text so that it's actually sitting roughly in the center of the drawing just to be a little bit tidier. The next thing we can do now is actually put some dimensions on this drawing that will actually give us the distances from the center of our cutout to the left hand insertion point, center of the cutout to the right hand insertion point. These distances are required when we actually take the next step in the process and set this hot plate cutout or hot plate template up in BenchEzy's database. So what we'll do now is we'll just get a dimensioning tool, horizontal dimensions. We will get from the center of the cutout to the left hand insertion point is 306, and then it should be the same obviously for the opposite side because it's basically just a rectangle. So now basically we have our drawing completed here. We will just now click that as saving that so that we keep it all up to date, and basically that's as simple as it is. That's how you go about setting up a machining operation template. And as I've said, the same principle applies whether it be for a hot plate, a vanity basin, a laundry tub, or a miscellaneous cutout. The main things to remember is that when we save our drawing is that this point here, up on this area here, must be at 0, 0. Now, if this was a miscellaneous cutout, for example, we may be cutting a hole for a bench-mounted rubbish bin. We just might need a circle, but it would actually could be down here because we want it 400 millimeters from the front of the bench. So just keep in mind that these points actually represent the front line of the bench. This point here, this line here, must be the center of the cutout, and then your left hand and right hand insertion points must include your clearance that you want to allow from the actual insert point to the actual edge of the cutout. That concludes this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful, and make sure you check out the other tutorial which deals with setting up sink templates. As I've said, they're a little bit more involved, so make sure you check that out on our website, all the W's, Hutto, hutto.com.au, or you can go direct to YouTube and search HUTTO PTY Ltd, which is all one word, and have a look at all the other videos that are available on our channel there. Thank you very much.